Governance and leadership at the ministerial level is critically about formulating and ensuring strategic policy frameworks combined with effective implementation, building regulation, purposeful system design, and accountability. Are the federal ministries truly interpreting and exhibiting the realities of good governance and leadership? The Minister's Platform will let you know better. You're welcome. Ministry News encapsulates current issues and developments across the federal ministries. Find out the latest. The federal government has formally reacted to complaints by the Nigerian Governors Forum about the contentious $418 million Paris Club reform, saying the governor's reservations are groundless. Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, disclosed the government's position Thursday in Abuja during a media briefing on a wide range of issues at the State House, Abuja. The minister also disclosed that the ministry has secured no fewer than 1,000 convictions on terrorism within 18 months. He said within the period under review, the ministry had been involved in 312 cases ranging from terrorism to maritime offenses, armed robbery, cybercrime, and kidnapping, among others.
When the claims were eventually processed and paid to the Governors Forum, they indeed on their own, without the intervention of the federal government, took steps to make part payment to the consultants, acknowledging their liability over same.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has said the federal government is on course to implement a new tariff hike on data and calls. According to her, this will start with the implementation of a 5% excise duty tax on all voice calls, SMS and data services, which is in addition to the existing 7.5% value-added tax, VAT, paid for goods and services across all sectors of the economy. The Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communications, Yunusa Tanko Abdullahi, made the disclosure in a statement as a fallout of the stakeholders meeting organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC). The minister was represented by the Assistant Director, Tax Policy, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and Planning, Musa Umar, noted that the 5% excise duty has been in the Finance Act 2020 but has never been implemented. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, has dismissed reports of shortage of booklets as a challenge against adequate and timely issuance of the Nigerian passport, saying Lagos and Port Harcourt offices of the Nigerian Immigration Service alone had combined stock of 40,000 booklets. Aregbesola was in Rivers State for the rollout of the enhanced electronic passport and commissioning of the Passport Production Center in Port Harcourt, vowed to bring the weight of the law on racketeers within and outside the NIS, creating difficulties for applicants. He urged Rivers State Government and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to help identify the racketeers, even as he debunked rumors of booklets scarcity.
The passport you have today, in terms of security, is of the highest standard. No nation on this earth has a more secured passport than what Nigeria has.
The Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, has assured Nigerians that steps are being taken to provide a permanent solution to the perennial challenge of completing Section 4 of the East-West Road, measuring 15 kilometers from Onne Port Junction to Eleme Port Junction in Rivers State. The minister gave the assurance during a meeting with the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Umana Okon Umana, in his office at the ministry's headquarters in Mabuchi, Abuja. His assurance was based on the advice of directors of the Ministry of Works who inspected the road last month and discovered that its cardinal problem is lack of drainage, of which the minister has decided that a permanent and holistic approach should be taken. The Minister of Transportation, Engineer Muazu Sambo, has inaugurated a new Nigerian Shippers Council governing board to enhance the growth of the sector for national development. Speaking during its inauguration recently in Abuja, Sambo tasked the new board to live up to the expectations of the government and promote prudence, transparency, accountability, equity, and fairness in its responsibilities. While reminding them of their statutory responsibilities, the minister urged the new board members to work in line with the policy direction of the federal government and to engender harmonious working relationship with the management of the council. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehanire, has said the federal government is ready to partner with any organization in a bid to upscale the entire value system of primary health care in Nigeria. Dr. Ehanire made this known when the Federal Ministry of Health played host to a delegation of Resolve to Save Lives (RTSL) on Thursday in Abuja. He, however, used the occasion to commend RTSL for what they have been able to do for the country over the years, particularly in the health sector in the area of prevention of epidemics and reduction of cardiovascular diseases. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, architect Olamilekan Adegbite, Tuesday expressed optimism that the reconstituted National Steel Council raises hope of Nigeria becoming self-sufficient in steel production. The minister stated this during the inauguration of the council at the headquarters of the ministry in Abuja, which he described as a step in the right direction as it brings Nigeria closer to achieving self-sufficiency in steel production. According to Adegbite, the National Steel Act clearly makes adequate provisions for the establishment of the National Steel Council, which will be responsible for the central planning of the iron and steel industry.
The federal government on the establishment in Nigeria of additional iron and steel industry, especially on the private sector, and now we're at the closing line just to press take, and Nigeria will emerge better, stronger, without any encumbrance.
The Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, has tasked the technical colleges in the country to prioritize environmental and social safeguarding to enhance the effective implementation of the World Bank Assisted Innovation and Skills Acquisition Project in Nigeria. The minister gave this charge during a workshop on environmental and social safeguard securing and other preliminary activities for technical colleges, implementing innovation, development, and effectiveness in the requisition of skills project held in Abuja early August. He noted that environmental and social management was critical for effectiveness and sustainability of the project, in line with the Nigerian environmental policies and the World Bank's environmental and social policy. And finally, on ministry news, the first batch of Team Nigeria athletes to the just concluded Commonwealth Games in Birmingham has been given a heroic welcome by the federal government on their arrival after their successful outing, receiving the athletes and the officials at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, applauded the excellent performance of the team, which led to the harvest of 35 medals, lifting the country to the 7th position on the world record of sporting countries. Represented by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, the minister expressed the joy of the entire country over their outstanding achievements, which was the first in the history of the nation. From the presidency comes official engagements and highlights from the office of Mr. President. President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday in Abuja met with representatives of victims of the Kaduna train abduction, assuring them that the federal government is doing everything within its power to ensure the safe return of the remaining captives, condoling with the families of the victims and those who lost their loved ones. The president said since the terrible and cowardly attack by the criminal elements on March 28, 2022, the nation had joined them to endure the period of difficulty and emotional pains. The president told representatives of the families that in the immediate aftermath of the incident, several actions have been taken by government to bring succor to the affected families and prevent a reoccurrence in the country. He, however, assured safe return of the remaining abductees.
It remains our solemn commitment, as demonstrated publicly and behind the scenes, that we will ensure each person currently being held captive is safely returned home to their families. In the last couple of days, you must have heard about the number of terrorists neutralized by the military and number of these hostages freed. These efforts will not stop or reduce. We must take the fight to the terrorists and demonstrate there is no hiding place for them within the borders of our country.
President Muhammadu Buhari has reversed his authorization of Seplat Energy's takeover of ExxonMobil's shallow water business in Nigeria, throwing his weight instead behind the regulator's decline of the $1.3 billion transaction. It was reported the president decided the position of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NURPC, is to be supported, and the earlier confusion was because various agencies involved in the decision had not coordinated well among themselves. Spokesperson to President Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. Adesina, said Mr. President initially approved the transfer in his capacity as the Minister of Petroleum Resources, and the approval was in consonance with the country's drive for foreign direct investment in the energy sector and considering the extensive benefits of transaction to the Nigerian energy sector and the larger economy. President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday received at State House Abuja the new president of the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliyu Toure, and his management team, telling them the kind of sub-regional body West African leaders desire and must have. While wishing the new president success in his assignment, he expressed hope that the new leader will collectively drive the sub-region to one that is economically integrated, politically stable, and socially in harmony with itself, to the admiration of the continent and indeed the global community. He further told the new management team that citizens of ECOWAS must directly feel the impact of the organization through people-oriented programs and projects that include effective advocacy around core issues of concerns to the sub-region.
I have no doubts that you will evolve appropriate partnerships and working relationships with development partners across the globe to maximize opportunities for progress rather than engage in messages which is echoes that we desire and must have.
And finally, from the presidency, the remains of Captain Atta Samuel and 4 other soldiers attached to the Presidential Guards Brigade killed in an ambush by suspected terrorists in the Federal Capital Territory have been laid to rest. A statement by the Assistant Director of Army Public Relations, Guards Brigade, Captain Godfrey Abakpa, said the captain and soldiers were buried on Thursday amid tears at the Guards Brigade Cemetery in Maitama. Still on the minister's platform, we bring you a special interview with the Honorable Minister of Mines and Steel on Talking with the Minister. Can you speak on the roadmap for the growth and development of the Nigerian mining industry? What are some of the major deliverables of the roadmap, and what has been the response to this roadmap by the key industry stakeholders?
The roadmap is actually a response to the situation that the sector found itself there about 2017. Nigeria, mining started in Nigeria, or let's say geoscience data started in Nigeria as far back as 1903, even before the formalization of the Nigerian state. And Nigeria relied heavily on the minerals before the advent of oil and gas. So up until 1958, Nigeria relied mostly, even the colonial masters, on revenue from the mining sector. Nigeria was quoted copiously on the London Metal Exchange. You know, we were exporting tin, we were exporting columbite, we were exporting coal, and so many other minerals out of Nigeria. But with the advent of oil, we shifted our focus and went into oil and gas, of course, because it's so much easier to bring that out. So Nigeria totally, by the time of the indigenization decree of 1972-73, thereabout, mining seemed to fail to exist in Nigeria anymore, especially in the formal sector. What was left were the artisanals. So with the reality of what's going on with the fossil fuel, Nigerian government started focusing again, especially with the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, on minerals and steel development. The focus, and of course, putting funding into that sector. The roadmap essentially was, look, where do we want to be in 10 years' time? So they brought in a lot of industry experts, academics, and they all sat down and did what we call a short, medium, and long-term perspective of where we should be and what we should pursue to get to those points. That's what the roadmap is all about. And it was finished and published in 2017. But the roadmap essentially was looking at least in the short term and the medium time on the low-hanging fruits. What are the minerals that we have that could take to the industrial level immediately? And they were looking at things like barite. Of course, they look at gold. Nigeria has always had a lot of gold. We're also looking at our coal. A lot of countries are saying that, okay, they do away with coal. But then, Nigeria has energy deficiency. And coal is one of the efficient ways, though it has its waste, of producing energy. So the roadmap essentially was looking at those minerals that we could effectively take to the industrial level in a short term. So it prescribed short term as 2 years, medium time 5 years, and then long term as 10 years. So that's essentially what the roadmap was looking at. Since I had been here, the roadmap has formed the bedrock of like a Bible for the industry so far.
What is the position of things right now?
Barite is a material that is used in the oil and gas industry. I mean, ironically, they use barite as part of the drilling mud that the exploration companies use in the oil and gas industry. Barite is abundant in Nigeria. We have barite in so many states. Nasarawa, Niger, Cross River. It's all over the place. But then the problem was taking our own barite, local barite, to the industrial grade that will be useful in the oil industry. So we were importing barite from Morocco, essentially, for about $300 million every year. When I came into office, I took it upon myself and set up what we call from mines to the market. We got a consultant, somebody who's worked in barite all his life to support us. We're glad today. We are at the point where we're about to launch Made in Nigeria. We call it Proudly Nigeria Made Barite. What we've done is to practicalize it. We have 50 bags. The barites are normally bagged in 1-ton bags. It's ready in Port Harcourt, well-tested, API standard. That's the American Petroleum Institute standard. We set up a committee so that we can do the launching very soon, in the next couple of weeks, maybe first week of September, just to announce to the world that, yes, Nigeria has its own barite now, API standard, and is ready for the market. Not just for Nigerian market, but we can also export to our neighbors. Ghana has oil there. South Africa has oil. Nigeria is closer to these two than the northern African country where everybody is importing from now. So that's one success story from the roadmap itself. We picked up barite and we've taken it now to that level. So we have a system in place where we identify the miners, people who mine barite. We now have to identify millers, because those are some of the problems that they had in the past. People had standard milling equipment. We've identified them. and we're linking them together. So government is just providing the linkages. And of course, the bagging was also a problem in the past, because an attempt had been made like this in the past, which failed. So what we did was that we got a company to provide the bagging, which we've tagged by Proudly Nigeria. So we've tied the whole process. And then, of course, we now have a marketing position in Port Harcourt, because that's where most of the OICs and all their exploration companies are. So I dare say that the Barite story is a success story at this point.
Can you talk about the efforts being made by the government to retrieve Nigeria's colonial geological data from the United Kingdom through the British Geological Survey? Let's talk about the BGS, the National Geological Museum.
Part of the roadmap is also that we know that mining itself is based on data. Data, that's the knowledge to, number one, to know where these minerals are located, and in what quantum and so on. And like I said, from 1903, when Nigeria was not even a country by then, the colonial masters were here. Geological survey activity started in 1903 in the northern Petroskele, and then 1904 in the south. We got a lot of data that was actually collected, gathered by the British colonial masters. And of course, upon independence, they took it away. Now, part of this process is there is a project that's ongoing now. It's a federal government project. It's called MinDiver. Mineral diversification project, just to diversify the economy through mineral proceeds. This project is being financed by a loan from the World Bank. So part of what the loan is being used for is to acquire this data, to bring back this data that the British have in their possession. Of course, the process actually started in the last couple of years. The data are being digitized now. We are taking it to digital format so that when it comes back here, it's something that we can use digitally. There were manual data, it's now being digitalized, and of course will be returned to us. That funding is coming from the World Bank loan that we have. I was in their office in Sherwood in England. I saw the activity that's going on. The data that Nigeria has been gathering through our Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, we'll merge all this together. We're creating a data bank, which is going to be online. From the comfort of your homes and offices, wherever you are all over the world, you can now access, of course, with some protocol. Some will be free. You can just look at them freely, because they're in layers. Then some are deeper layers where you may have to pay to access such information from the system. But when the whole thing is completed, the data bank is going to be based in our office here, in Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. That's one of our agencies. They are primarily responsible for gathering data for mining. It's a process that's going on. We are working with British Geological Survey. It's not free, like I said, and we are paying for it from the loan we obtained from the World Bank.
Last year, you and your team embarked on an international roadshow, Canada, Australia. What would you say is the outlook for renewed investment in Nigeria's mining sector by both indigenous companies and international mining conglomerates?
The beauty of going out there is the fact that we have something to offer. And there I must credit my predecessor in office, Governor Kayode Fayemi, who was immediate past minister in this place. There was a project that was started in 2018 called NIMEP, Nigeria Integrated Mineral Exploration Project. We got some, and also you have to give credit again to President Muhammadu Buhari. This ministry had never enjoyed any extra budgetary provision. The kind of budgets we have cannot do the exploration that is required in this industry, because mining is all about data. For you to get the data, you need to spend a lot of money. But in 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari granted this ministry a 30 billion naira extra budgetary fund. It was called an intervention fund. Half of this fund, 15 billion naira, which at that time equated to about $50 million, dedicated to exploration. That project is called NIMEP. Now, this NIMEP focused basically on 4 minerals. The data being generated are very fantastic. It's telling us the minerals that we're discovering. Even we are discovering those things we're not looking for. While we're looking for gold in Zamfara, we found lithium. Lithium is one of the minerals of the future. That's what you find in your electric cars, for batteries and all that. But even with the data that were gathered already, this was the data we were taking to all these mining calendars. We had Mines and Money in London. You had the PDAC in Canada, of course, Ndaba in South Africa, and of course, African Down Under in Australia. And of course, at each of these forums that we will go to, the response is very good, because we know there's a Nigerian corner, Nigerian day. As the minister, I go there, I just make a short speech, 5-10 minutes. Then we bring in our experts who are on the NIMEP projects. These are competent persons who, by the industry standard, they are the ones who give the facts. Whatever they say is believed. These people present the data, and the data so presented became so interesting, and we had a lot of response from would-be investors who wanted to come into Nigeria to do that. But for the pandemic, that started from about March last year, we will have had a lot of success story from these people. But be as it may, just about 2-3 weeks ago, one of these people that we spoke to in London, while we were in London last year, came into Nigeria, and they're bringing a $50 million investment into a gold project in Abuja here. It's called Babasani. So these are some of the fruits of that junketing that we're doing all over the place. And of course, selling the data that we have. It was so interesting that people wanted to come in. So one of the success story is this firm that are just coming to Nigeria now. In fact, they've done the share arrangement. They're already in the Nigerian partners. They're starting operations very soon. First instance, they're bringing in $50 million into that project to mine gold in Abuja.
Can you tell us about it, about the mineral export guidelines that your ministry and the Ministry of Finance is working on? And all the stakeholders to appreciate what you do in this regard.
We've had issues with export of minerals from Nigeria. One is the fact that there were a lot of illegalities occurring. People were taking minerals out of Nigeria without paying their appropriate fees. The mineral that you realize is yours. It's called winnings. Well, you must pay royalty to government because you spend quite a sum to get to this mineral. But when you extract the minerals, all we ask for is for you to pay the royalty due to government. When you pay the royalty, you can now export or you want to sell locally. So what the export guidelines is to try and streamline all this process. Now we are introducing what we call inspectors, pre-shipment inspectors, who will look at, because some of these minerals are exported in the raw form. We're also doing what we call processing policy, where we are discouraging people from exporting raw ore from Nigeria. When you take this ore out of Nigeria in the raw form, when it gets to its destination, they will now start doing the inspection, and some of them are rejected, and even our people end up the loser. So it becomes a big disappointment for the exporter. What we're encouraging is that processing, so that what you are exporting out of Nigeria, because minerals don't come out of ground in the pure form, they come with a lot of impurities. So if you do minimal processing locally, what you'll be exporting will be the pure mineral you're exporting. For instance, you can import lead ingots. Instead of exporting lead as it comes out of the ground, it comes with zinc, it comes with some other minerals. You export lead ingots, and it's strictly lead. So all it matters is you agree price and you agree the weight. So these are some of the things that the export guideline is doing and the mineral downstream policy is doing. And also encouraging local investors, particularly, to invest in this process. You don't have to be a miner, but you can be a processor. For instance, we have a lot of kaolin in Bauchi, Nigeria. The paint industry, the pharmaceutical industry, they use kaolin, but they have to import it. We export our kaolin in the raw form to some other jurisdiction. The process is industrial grade, and we import it back to make paints in the paint industry. They import it to the pharmaceutical industry as well. We're encouraging investors now. The response is good, and the good thing about this, again, I must also praise President Muhammadu Buhari, is that the government is putting the money where his mouth is. We are doing pilot projects. There are 6 of them all over the country. It's processing. For instance, we are building a processing plant now for kaolin in Bauchi, so that we process the kaolin to industrial grade, and we do import substitution for the industry that needs them. You don't have to import these things anymore because we have it, we process it, it's ready for use in the industry, and we can also export. These and some of the other things as what the export guidelines that we're working on. Number one, to streamline the process, make sure that we remove all the bottlenecks. It's easier for exporters. At the same time, to remove the illegalities that prevails.
The National Commission for Museum and Monuments is our agency in focus today. Let's get the facts. The National Commission for Museums and Monuments, NCMM, also referred to as National Museum of Nigeria, was founded in 1979 by the federal government of Nigeria with Decree 77 of 1979 to be in charge of the collection, documentation, conservation and presentation of the national cultural properties to the public for the purposes of education, enlightenment and entertainment. This decree recognized the National Commission for Museums and Monuments as a replacement for both the Federal Department of Antiquities of Nigeria and the Antiquities Commission. The decree has since been substituted in 1990 for the NCMM Act Cap 242 of the Law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1990. The vision of NCMM is to ensure a stable museum system which ensures the preservation and integration of the Nigerian cultural and natural heritage within the local and national developmental process and the World Heritage Network. The mission statement is to ensure the systematic collection, preservation, study, and interpretation of the material evidence, tangible and intangible, of the development of the people of Nigeria and Nigerians in the diaspora. Some of the key functions of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments include to organize and stimulate education and cultural knowledge that will promote and propagate Nigerian cultural heritage and museum development, to establish and maintain a stable museum system in Nigeria, which will ensure the preservation of the nation's tangible and intangible heritage, to standardize and harmonize the administration of museums, monuments, sites, and objects of national and cultural significance in Nigeria, to ensure the proper conservation, protection, and preservation of Nigerian natural and cultural heritage at home and abroad, to promote professionalism and efficient management of the Nigerian cultural and natural heritage, to standardize and harmonize the administration of private museums in Nigeria, as well as to reposition the museum system so as to be actively engaged in heritage conservation and product development with adaptive creation of cultural industries in partnership with states, local governments, and private sector, through the establishment of community and eco-museums as arenas for job creation, youth empowerment, and poverty alleviation. One of the Commission's mandate is the management of museum collections, including the formation and promotion of museum policies, ethics, and practices. These are achieved through acquisition of cultural objects, their documentation, preservation, conservation, storage, interpretation, and display through exhibitions, publications, and public programs, as well as the establishment of new museums and maintenance of existing ones. The National Commission for Museums and Monuments is currently under the able leadership of the Director General CEO, Professor Abba Issa Tijani. The National Commission for Museums and Monuments. Great heritage for a greater future.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants.
For like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah. I like this city because of the job opportunities.
Nigeria is united, but the problem is those political elite, because of relevance, they troop in things like religion just to achieve what they want. If you look at the youth around, the way they walk around, you know they are united. But because they have been left for too long to suffer, you know, there's this easy saying that a hungry man is an angry man. And that is why you see everyone in government is struggling so hard to make sure that the youths are just where they are so they can get easily with what they want. But unfortunately, things are changing. If you look at what's happened, like from this NSAS stuff, and then the emergence of some people who stepped into politics begin to say the truth, which we also know that at the end of the day, they might not really follow the truth, but they are saying the truth.
Nigeria is not a united state. Basically, religion and ethnicity is dividing the country. So Nigeria cannot be united where we have these issues. Our leaders, they are responsible for this because they use this to divide us. They believe that is only the way to put this country apart because existing for the past 50 years. There are a lot of things to do business together, but they use this issue of religion and ethnicity to separate us because of their selfish interest. We need a strong leader to take us out of this.
The answer is capital no. We are not united. Political developments and trends. You see that some people are being regarded as second-class citizens. When you have a community of Christians, Muslims, and all the other faiths, and then you want to, for example, take an action, choose somebody for a position, and it doesn't matter to you the way others feel. What matters to you is the ladder. Can you use this as a ladder to get where you're going to? We can achieve unity by telling ourselves the truth. Because I believe in my mind that we all know the truth. The only thing is that we try to cover that truth. And as long as we keep covering them, it's not going to lead us anywhere.
As a matter of fact, I don't want to believe we're united. If you check the way things are in the country, we don't seem to be united. Either we are divided, ethnic lines, political, religious. In the 80s, way back, we were really united, and there was freedom everywhere. You could leave your house late and go back home. But presently, because of political situations, the system and the government, I don't think they are carrying Nigerians along. Take the youth service. You can be posted to any part of Nigeria. Back then, you will be safe, but presently, you can't say that. So it's really a deep question, and it needs deep thinking.
I didn't see anything unity. There's nothing united. Because we are saying united, we are just fooling ourselves. Igbo, they are different. Yoruba, they are different. Look at the North, they are different. Even their character, the culture is not much. Let's start from home. Are we loving ourselves? For how we are not united. There's no love yet. Even if we be a Christian self, there's no love there. If we have love, then next thing is unite. We have to unite. You see, so our problem is our character. If we can change our character, our situation in the country will change.
On the minister's platform, we believe information and knowledge is power to the people. So keep it with us next week to get informed and to get empowered. Thanks for watching.